Hi everyone, welcome to Chandan Logics. You all know that students who are preparing for bank, SSC, railway, police, defense, CSAT and other competitive exams are very familiar about Chandan Logics. Why the reason is, Chandan Logics have trained lakhs of students, and out of those lakhs of students, already thousands of students secured government jobs in various sectors. Now, how this is possible to us? This is possible to us only because of our expert faculty team and our exclusive designed curriculum for examination. If you observe our expert faculty team, each and every faculty is having vast experience and they're having in-depth subject knowledge based on the present examination pattern, and they have trained lakhs of students. And coming to our curriculum, we have designed our curriculum in such a way that our video lectures are completely digital interactive video lectures where we are going to teach each and every subject in depth, complete concept oriented teaching and complete time saving techniques based on the recent examinations. And we are going to conduct mock examinations also. These mock examinations are exclusively based on the real time experience of what actual examination is going to happen. And we are going to provide you complete concept oriented PDF materials also. If you are a serious aspirant and looking for the right platform to achieve your dream job, download Chandan Logics app. Let us look at the next pattern. So even these type of questions also comes in examination, and these type of questions sometimes comes in examination. Okay, and these are very important and very simple as well. So questions based upon shadows. In some competitive examinations, we get questions based upon shadows. In some competitive examinations, we may not get questions based upon shadows, but shadows is also part of directions. Okay, so that is the reason we have to discuss it. Is it clear? So we'll discuss the basic concept. Once if the basic concept is clear, then solving questions will be very simple. Very simple basic concept. Observe carefully. Once if the basic concept is clear, solving these questions will be very simple. Now if you observe, sun rises in which direction? Sun rises in which direction? Now this is my first question. Say the answer. Sun rises in which direction? Sun rises in which direction? Sun sets in which direction? Say the answer. Sun rises in which direction? Sun sets in which direction? Now based upon this, we are going to solve questions based upon shadows. North, south, east, west. Okay. Now observe here. Sun rises in which direction? Sun rises in the east and sets in the west. Yes or no? Everyone knows that. So this is in the morning time. So this is the morning time. So sun rises in the east. So this is in the morning time. So this is in the morning time. Okay. This is in the morning time. So morning time, this one. So this is in the morning time. And this is in the evening time. This one is in the evening time. So this is in the evening time. So this is evening time. And this is exactly at 12 noon. This is exactly at 12 noon. Okay. Observe here carefully. So sun rises in the east direction. So this is east, this is west. So sun rises in the east and sets in the west. So this is morning time, this is 12 noon and this is evening time. Okay, observe here carefully. Let us say I have placed an object here. I have placed an object. Okay, let us say this is an object, or let us say I am standing here. A person is standing, a person or pole, whatever it may be. A person or pole or object, an object is here. Okay, I placed an object here. Let us say I placed one object here. This is one object. So this object may be a pole or a person, whatever it may be. So I placed an object here. This is an object. Okay, so observe here carefully. Obviously, when I place this object, for this object shadow will be there. Yes or no? For this object shadow will be there. For this object we know there is going to be shadow. Now my question is, let us say this is object. So this is object. For this object there will be shadow. Now shadow, if you observe, either shadow will be this side or shadow will be this side. So any of these two sides shadow will be there, either this side or this side. Okay. Now my question is, out of these two, which is morning shadow? Out of these two, which is morning shadow and which is evening shadow? Very simple, everyone know that. If you observe here, this is object, yes or no? And this is morning time sun. If you observe, if sun is in the east direction and object is here, obviously shadow will be in the west direction, yes or no? So I can say this is going to be morning shadow, yes or no? This is going to be morning shadow. Okay, this is going to be morning shadow. Similarly, what about this one? This is going to be evening shadow, yes or no? This is going to be evening shadow. So this is going to be evening shadow. So this is going to be evening shadow. Why? Means evening time, sun will be in the west. If object is here, shadow will be on the east, yes or no? Just common sense. Now let us example, you are standing in this way. If sun is in the east direction, shadow will be in the west direction. If sun is in the west direction, shadow will be in the east direction, yes or no? The same common sense we are using, nothing more than that. If object is here, sun is in the morning time in the east direction, so shadow will be in the west direction, yes or no? Similarly, evening time sun will be in the west direction. If object is here, shadow will be in the east direction, yes or no? Now observe carefully. Important point we are going to discuss, observe carefully. Let us say example. If a person is going to face towards north. Now this is nothing but north, yes or no? When person is facing towards north direction, morning shadow will be on his left or right? Morning shadow. When the person is facing towards north direction, let us say person is facing towards north. When the person is facing towards north, morning shadow will be on the left or right. Say the answer, left or right, morning shadow. Look at, this is morning shadow. So morning shadow, if you observe, if the person is facing towards north, this is left of person and this is right of the person, yes or no? Now if you observe, morning shadow is on the left hand side, yes, evening shadow is on the right hand side. Okay, now observe here, write this point. This is very important point, write this point. So morning shadow. So very important point, write this, morning shadow, evening shadow. So morning shadow, just a minute. Morning shadow, evening shadow. So morning shadow, evening shadow, evening shadow. So when the person is facing towards north direction, when the person is facing towards south direction, okay, observe here carefully, very important point. Once if you know this point, then you can solve questions related to shadows in just a fraction of seconds. Just you need to know the point whatever I am going to say now. Now observe here. When the person is facing towards north, morning shadow is on the left of person, yes or no? Morning shadow is on the left of person, yes. Evening shadow is on the right of the person, yes. Evening shadow is on the right of the person, okay. Similarly, let us say when the person is traveling towards south direction, when the person is traveling towards south, then what happened? When the person is traveling towards south, now this is going to be left and this is going to be right, yes or no? This is left and this is right. Now observe here carefully. When the person is traveling towards south direction, then morning shadow will be in the right or left? Morning shadow will be on the right hand side, yes or no? Morning shadow will be on the right hand side. Next, evening shadow will be on the left hand side, yes. So this is very important point. Once if you know this point, automatically we can solve all the questions related to shadows very easily in examination, very easily. How to solve and how to remember this, I will say you, observe carefully. Now if you observe here, actually as per this representation, we came to know that morning shadow will be on the left hand side when the person is facing towards north direction. Similarly, evening shadow will be on the right hand side when the person is facing towards north direction. Next, morning shadow will be on the right hand side when the person is facing towards south direction. Evening shadow will be on the left hand side when the person is facing towards south direction. Now, what to remember? You need to remember one key point. That key point is nothing but what happened when the person is facing towards north. Just remember this. If you remember this, automatically solving this question will be very simple. Just remember one important point. Morning shadow left hand side, person is facing towards north. Evening shadow right hand side, person is facing towards north. Remember this one single point, nothing more than that. Morning shadow left hand side, person facing towards north. Evening shadow right hand side, person facing towards north. Remember only this point, nothing more than that. Morning shadow left hand side, person is facing towards north. Evening shadow right hand side, person is facing towards north. If I am going to say question in this way, I found my shadow morning time on left hand side, which means I am facing towards north direction. Yes or no? If I found my shadow on left hand side in the morning time, means I am facing towards north direction. Similarly, in the evening time, I found my shadow on the right hand side, which means I am facing towards north direction. That is what I told you to remember. Morning shadow left hand side, person is facing towards north. Evening shadow right hand side, person is facing towards north. If morning shadow is on the left hand side, if morning shadow is on the right hand side, which means person is facing towards south direction. Is that clear? If look here, if morning shadow is on the right hand side, then person is facing towards south direction. If evening shadow is on the left hand side, even then person is facing towards south direction. So just remember north. If you just remember north, then automatically solving questions will be very simple. Just remember north, saying that morning shadow left hand side, answer is north. Evening shadow right hand side, answer is north. Just remember only this. Morning shadow left hand side, answer is north. Evening shadow right hand side, answer is north. If morning shadow instead of left it came to right, then answer is south. Evening shadow instead of right it came to left, answer is south. That's it, nothing more than that. Is it clear? So question will be in this way in examination. A person found his shadow on his left hand side at 9 a.m. 9 a.m. means morning time. Morning time left hand side means person is facing towards north direction. Similarly, at 5 p.m. 5 p.m. means evening time. At 5 p.m. a person found his shadow on his right hand side. 5 p.m. means evening time. Evening time shadow is on his right hand side. Evening time right hand side means person is facing towards north direction. If the question is in this way, at 10 a.m. morning time, at 10 a.m. a person found his shadow on his right hand side, which means morning time right hand side. Morning time right hand side means person is facing towards south direction. Okay, that is the reason. Remember this one point. Morning shadow left hand side, answer is north. Evening shadow right hand side, answer is north. Just remember north. If you remember north, automatically south you know. South is nothing but reverse. Yes or no? So morning shadow left hand side. Morning shadow left hand side, answer is north. Evening shadow right hand side, answer is north. Okay. And one more important point. One more important point from here. One more important point. Now I need to say one more important point. Observe here carefully. Let us say example, I and my friend, both of them are talking each other face to face. So my friend, both of them are talking each other face to face. Now my question is, our shadows, which means my shadow, my friend's shadow, will the shadows be on the same side or opposite sides? This is my question. Everyone need to answer this question. Everyone. I and my friend talking each other face to face. So we are talking each other face to face. When we are talking each other face to face, or whether we are talking each other beside, what it may be. So I and my friend talking, whether it is face to face or beside each other, not a matter. Now my question is, when I and my friend were talking each other, will both of our shadows will be on the same side or opposite side? Now when I ask this question, so many students will get dilemma, saying like, you are saying you and your friend are talking with each other, but whether you are talking face to face or whether you are talking beside each other, how you are talking? If you are going to confirm us whether you are talking beside each other or face to face, then we can say whether the shadows are on the same side or different sides. But truly speaking, is it necessary? No, this is not necessary. Why it is not necessary means, Let us keep this example aside for just 2 minutes. Keep this example aside. Now actually I am talking about me and my friend, but keep this example aside. Keep this example aside and let us say I am traveling on a bike. I am traveling on a bike. When I am traveling on a bike, then obviously I will have shadow and bike also will have shadow. Yes or no? When I am traveling on bike, I will have shadow and my bike also will have shadow. Now my question is, will both the shadows be on the same side or opposite side? Both the shadows, which means my shadow, bike shadow, both of them will be on the same side or opposite side. Now everyone know the answer, that is both of them will be in the same side. Now my question is whether you are traveling on a bike as normally as everyone do, or you are traveling in a different way. Now can I ask this question? No, I can't ask. Why? Means whether you are traveling on a bike as regularly as everyone travel, or you are traveling on a bike in a different way, or you are trying to travel something creative other than how basically everyone do. Whatever the way you are traveling, whatever the different type of shunts you are going to do, it's not a matter. But don't forget, shadow will be on the same side. Whether you are traveling in a normal way or you are trying to travel in a different way than usual, whatever you are going to do, shadow will be on the same side. If your shadow is here, then your bike shadow also will be there only. If your bike shadow is there, even your shadow also will be there only. Yes or no? So remember one point. This is very, very important point. Shadows will be on the same side. Shadows will be on the same side. This is very, very, very important point. Shadows will be on the same side. Shadows will be on the same side. This is very, very, very important point. Shadows will be on the same side. Shadows will be on the same side. Very, 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 very important point. Shadows will be on the same side. Whether it may be you, your bike, or you, your friend, or you and pole, whatever it may be, don't forget, shadows will be on the same side. This is very, very, very important point whenever you're dealing with questions based upon shadows. Now let us example, you are standing beside a pole. If pole shadow is there, your shadow is also there only. You are standing beside your friend. If your friend shadow is there, your shadow is also there only. Yes or no? That is the reason, don't forget, shadows will be on the same side. If your friend shadow is there, your shadow also will be there. If your bike shadow is here, your shadow also will be here. If pole shadow is there, your shadow also will be there. If tree shadow is there, your shadow also will be there. So shadows will be on the same side. Don't forget, this is very, very important point whenever you are trying to solve questions based upon shadows. Okay? So remember this point. Now, why I told this point means sometimes questions can be in this way. Sometimes I will say question in this way, saying like, I can say question this way. One morning, me and my friend were talking each other. One morning, me and my friend talking each other. I found. So me and my friend, both of them are going for jogging, and I found my friend's shadow on my left hand side. In which direction we are going for walking? Now if you observe carefully, when me and my friend are going for jogging, talking to each other, we are going for jogging, which means both of them are traveling in the same direction. Yes or no? As both of them are traveling in the same direction, when I say I found my friend's shadow on his left, I found my friend's shadow on my left hand side, it means that my shadow also will be on the left hand side. Yes or no? But examiner, for the purpose of confusing, they will say like, you found your friend's shadow on the left hand side. But truly speaking, if your friend's shadow is on your left hand side, even your shadow also is on the left hand side. Why? Means both of you are traveling in the same direction. Yes. So I can say morning time shadow left hand side. So we can say answer is going to be north direction. Is it clear? That is the reason knowing the concept is very, very important. So once if we know that shadows will be on the same side, then obviously you can solve these questions very easily. If I say in this way, at 10 a.m. I found pole shadow on my right hand side. At 10 a.m. means morning time, pole shadow right hand side means even my shadow also will be on the right hand side. Yes or no? Shadows will be on the same side. Yes. If you are traveling on a bike, if your shadow is on the left hand side, bike shadow also will be on the left hand side. It will not be bike shadow left hand side, your shadow. Bike shadow left hand side, your shadow right hand side. Did you see it anytime? No, it will never happen. If your shadow is on the left hand side, bike shadow also will be on the left hand side. If your shadow is on the right hand side, bike shadow also will be on the right hand side. That is the reason if I found pole shadow on the right hand side, which means my shadow is also on the right hand side. If I found bike shadow on the left hand side, my shadow is also on the left hand side only. Is that clear? So based upon this, if you are going to have proper knowledge, then you can solve these questions very easily. Okay. And one more important thing, you need to remember this. Morning shadow left hand side, answer is north. So evening shadow right hand side, answer is north. If someone say morning shadow is on the left hand side, in which direction you are facing? You need to say answer is north direction. If the question is evening shadow is on the right hand side, which direction you are facing? Answer is north. So morning shadow left hand side, evening shadow right hand side, answer is north. If the question is morning shadow instead of left, if it went to right, then answer is going to be south. Evening shadow instead of right, if it is on the left, then answer is south. Is that clear? Now observe here. Now observe. Now so many students will get it out. So many students will get it out. Always you are saying answer north, south, north, south. Then what about east, west? What about east, west? So many of you may get doubt. Yes or no? Always I am saying answer is north, south, north, south. I am not saying about east, west. Then what happens when you are traveling towards east, west? Now some of the students may think that when you are traveling towards east or west, they will think shadow will not be there. But is that true? No. Why? Means whenever you go outside in the daytime, obviously you will see your shadow. Yes or no? Whenever you are going outside, you can see your shadow. Whether you are traveling towards north or south, are you checking it? No, you never check it. But obviously whenever you go outside in the daytime, definitely you are going to see your shadow, which means shadow is available in all the directions. Whether you travel towards north, south, east, west, it's not a matter. Definitely shadow is there. Then when our answer is going to be east, west, if our answer should be east, west means generally if you observe, whenever you're traveling towards east direction or west direction, what happens is shadow will be either on the front side or on the back side. Maybe you have observed sometimes when you're traveling. When you're traveling in the daytime, you may find your shadow sometimes towards your front. Sometimes you will find your shadow back, which means when you're finding your shadow front or back, the meaning is you are traveling towards east or west direction. Is it clear? If you found your shadow left or right, then you are traveling towards north direction or south direction. But when you find your shadow towards front or back, then we can say it is nothing but you are traveling towards east or west direction. Okay, look here, I am going to explain regarding that also. Look here. Now one more important point I forgot to say you. One more important point. I told that morning shadow, this is morning shadow, this is evening shadow. At 12 o'clock, shadow will be exactly below the object. Yes or no? Shadow will be exactly below the object. If this is object, shadow will be exactly below, which means at 12 o'clock, 12 noon, at 12 noon, it is going to be exactly below the object, exactly below. That is the reason, exactly at 12 o'clock, shadow will be below the object. Morning time, this is the shadow. Evening time, this is the shadow. Now when I say 1 p.m. will be evening time only, and don't say like afternoon and all. After 12 noon, whether it is 1 p.m., 2 p.m., 3 p.m., 4 p.m., 6 p.m., all of them will be evening. And if you look before 12 noon, 11 a.m., 10 a.m., 9 a.m., all of them will be morning. So this will be morning shadow and this will be evening shadow. When it is 12 noon, shadow will be exactly below the object. Is that clear? Now observe carefully. Now if you observe, I told that morning shadow, evening shadow, it is going to be left, right, then answer is nothing but either north direction or south direction. But when it is front, back, I told answer will be either east or west. Now observe here carefully. Now let us say example, this is morning shadow and this is nothing but evening shadow. Okay, morning shadow, evening shadow. Now look here. This is morning shadow, so this is going to be morning shadow. Okay, and this is evening shadow. This is going to be evening shadow. Now let us example person. This is person. Okay, this is person. So this is person, and this is going to be morning shadow. Just a minute. So this is morning shadow. So this is person. So this is person, and this is morning shadow. Why? Means in the morning time sun will be in the east, shadow will be on the west. In the evening time sun will be on the west, shadow will be on the east. So this is person, this is morning shadow, this is evening shadow. Okay, this is morning shadow, this is evening shadow. Now observe carefully. Now observe carefully. Now if you observe, if I say one morning person found his shadow in his friend. One morning person found his shadow in his friend. In which direction person is facing now? Now observe here. I told person found his shadow front. So look here. Morning shadow front. Morning shadow front means person is facing towards which direction? This is morning shadow. Shadows will never change the position. Don't forget. Shadows will never change the position. If this is morning shadow will be here only. If this is evening shadow will be here only. But what happened means when you are changing the direction, from north to south or east to west, then what happened? It changes from left hand to right hand. Is it clear? Shadows never change their position. Shadows will not change their position. Some of the students, they will get confused. No, you are not supposed to confuse. Shadows will never change the position. Now if you look here, I told you very clearly, this is morning shadow, this is evening shadow. If you observe, this became left hand, this became right hand. Why? Why means here the person is traveling towards north, here the person is traveling towards south, which means person is changing the direction, but shadows are not changing. Yes or no? Shadows will be on the same place. Person is changing the direction. That's it. Okay. Now observe here. So morning shadow is in his front. Morning shadow front means person is facing towards which direction? West direction. Yes or no? I mean, this is morning shadow. Morning shadow will be always here only. If morning shadow is there, question is saying morning shadow is on his front. Morning shadow front means person is facing towards east. Why? Means this is east direction. Yes or no? This is east. Already we know this. Just I am representing for the purpose of understanding. Look here. This is nothing but west direction. This is east direction. Yes, this is north direction, and this is south direction. Okay. Now observe here. Now if you observe, now what happened? Person is morning shadow. Morning shadow is in the front. Morning shadow front means person is facing towards which direction? Person is facing towards west direction. Is that clear? Morning shadow is front. Morning shadow front means person is facing towards west direction. If I say evening shadow is on the back of person. Now this is person. Yes or no? This person. Evening shadow is on the back. Evening shadow back side means, now if you observe, this is front of person, this is front, this is back side. Evening shadow is on the back side means person is facing towards which direction? Person is facing towards west direction. Is that clear? Now question is in this way. One evening, person found his shadow on his front. Evening shadow front. Evening shadow front means person is facing towards which direction? This is evening shadow. Evening shadow always will be here only. Evening shadow is on the front. Evening shadow is on the front means person is facing towards which direction? Person is facing this direction. Now this direction is nothing but east direction. Yes or no? So whenever you need answer as east or west, remember question should be asked as front back. If the question is asked like front back, then you can say answer will be east or west. But when the question is saying left hand, right hand, always answer is going to be either north or south. It cannot be east west. Okay, remember this point. Most of the time you will be getting questions based upon north south. If at all they want to ask in terms of east or west, then they will ask you question saying like person found his shadow in his front, in his back, in this way. Whenever they say front back, then answer will be east or west. But whenever they say left right, answer will be north south. Is it clear? So remember this one single point, and one more single point is shadows will not change their positions. Remember this point. Morning shadow will be always towards west direction. Evening shadow will be always towards east direction. Remember this point also. And this point I told you, morning shadow left hand side, answer is north. Evening shadow right hand side, answer is north. If you remember this point, then obviously you can solve all these questions very easily. Look here. Now we are going to solve all the questions. We will solve these questions in just a fraction of seconds. Just a fraction of seconds. Nothing more than that. Look here. If at 3 p.m., 3 p.m. means evening time, yes or no? If at 3 p.m. the shadow of person is on his right hand. Look here. I just need to concentrate on time and hand. Time hand. Nothing more than that. 3 p.m. means evening time. Evening shadow right hand side. Evening shadow right hand side means person is facing towards north direction. So I can directly say answer is north. Yes or no? I told you to remember the point. If you remember the point, whatever I have told you, then you can mark this answer directly. Morning shadow left hand side, answer is north. Evening shadow right hand side, answer is north. Now this is 3 p.m. 3 p.m. means evening time. Evening time shadow right hand side. Evening shadow right hand side. Person is facing towards north direction. Okay. Let us look at next one. Next one. One morning, Dhoni and Kohli were talking each other while walking. So both of them are traveling in the same direction, talking with each other. Okay. It is said Dhoni's shadow was exactly to the right of Kohli. So look here. Dhoni's shadow, where it seems? Dhoni's shadow is to the right of Kohli. Dhoni's shadow right of Kohli. Already I told you, shadows will be on the same side. Yes or no? Shadows will be on the same side. If Dhoni's shadow was right of Kohli, if Dhoni's shadow was right of Kohli, then obviously Kohli's shadow also will be on the right of Kohli. Yes or no? Which means I can simply say shadow is on the right hand side. Yes, shadow is on the right hand side. When morning time shadow right hand side. Morning time right hand side means person is facing towards south direction. Yes or no? Why means morning time left hand side? I told morning time left hand side means person is going to face towards north. But here morning time right hand side. Morning time right hand side means person is going to face towards south direction. And if you observe whether the question is with respect to Dhoni or whether the question is with respect to Kohli, both of them answer is going to be south. Why means both of them are traveling in the same direction. Both of them are going for jogging. Yes, as both of them are going for jogging, both of them are traveling the same direction. As both of them are traveling the same direction, whether it is Dhoni or whether it is Kohli, no change in the answer. Answer is going to be south direction only. Okay, let us look at the next question. At 9 a.m., the shadow of a person is on his left. Then the person is facing towards which direction? 9 a.m. means morning time. Morning time shadow left hand side. Look here. Morning shadow left hand side means person is facing towards which direction? North direction. Already we have discussed. Yes or no? Morning shadow left hand side. Person is facing towards north. 9 a.m. morning time. Shadow left hand side. 9 a.m. means morning time. Morning time shadow left hand side means person is facing towards north direction. These questions can be answered in fraction of seconds once if you are clear about the concept whatever we have discussed earlier. Very important. If the concept is clear, solving these questions will be very simple. Next one. One morning. So this is in the morning time. Uday and Vishal were talking each other face to face. Look here. This is very, very important point. Again, many students commit a mistake. In the previous question, if you observe, Dhoni, Kohli are traveling in the same direction. Yes or no? But here they are talking face to face. When they are talking face to face, you need to read the question carefully. Yes or no? Why means if one fellow is facing towards north, other fellow will face towards south. But when they are traveling in same direction, then you need not be careful. Whether it is this fellow or this fellow, answer will be same. Why means both of them are traveling in the same direction. Yes or no? If you observe this question, look here. Now Dhoni Kohli question, both of them are traveling in the same direction. Yes or no? Both of them are traveling in the same direction. As both of them are traveling in the same direction, whether the question is with respect to Dhoni or whether the question is with respect to Kohli, our answer will not change. Answer will be same. But if you observe, in this question, they are talking face to face. As they are talking face to face, you need to be very, very careful. Answer will change. Why means for this fellow you will get one answer, this fellow will get one answer. Why means both of them are opposite. That is the reason. Read the question carefully. Okay. So they are talking each other face to face at crossing. If Vishal's shadow was exactly to the left of Uday, look here, shadow was left of Uday. Whether it is Vishal shadow, Uday shadow, it's not a matter. Just remember, shadow was left of Uday. That is what I have told you. Shadows will be on the same side. That is what I told. Whether it is Vishal shadow, Uday shadow, pole shadow, bike shadow, it's not a matter. Shadow is on the left hand side. That's it. Now look here. Left hand side for whom? Uday. Now if you observe, morning time left hand side. Morning time left hand side means answer should be north. When, if the question is about Uday, why means left of Uday? Left of Uday means for Uday it is on the left hand side. For Uday left hand side means morning time left hand side means Uday is going to face towards north. But question is asking about whom? Question is asking about Uday only. As question is asking about Uday, we can say answer is north. If the question is going to be about Vishal, if the question is about Vishal, if the question is about Vishal, then your answer is going to be south. Is that clear? You should not say answer is north. Why means, if you observe here, it is said that left of Uday, shadow was on the left hand side of Uday. Shadow was on the left hand side of Uday means morning time left hand side means north. So Uday is facing towards north. If Uday is facing towards north, Vishal is facing opposite to Uday. Yes or no? Vishal is facing opposite. If Uday is facing towards north direction, Vishal is facing opposite. Opposite means Vishal should face towards south direction. Here the question is asking about Uday. So Uday is going to face towards north. But if the question is about Vishal, then your answer should be south direction. Is that clear? Let us look at next question. One evening before sunset, Deepa and Seema were talking each other face to face. Look here. Even here they are talking face to face. Okay. If Deepa's shadow was exactly to the right of Seema. Look here. Right of Seema. Whose shadow? Deepa's shadow, Seema's shadow, bike shadow, not important. It's not whose shadow is not important. Why means shadows will be on the same side. Yes or no? That is the reason whose shadow it's not important. Just know right of Seema. So it is found that shadow was on the right hand side of Seema. When means evening time. Evening time right hand side. Evening time right hand side means person is facing towards north direction. So Seema right hand side means evening time. So Seema is facing towards north direction. Look at the question. Question is asking about whom? Question is asking about Deepa. As question is asking about Deepa, if Seema is facing towards north, then Deepa should face opposite. Opposite means Deepa should face south. So answer for this question is going to be south direction. Is that clear? Look here. Forget about this. Deepa's shadow was exactly left. Deepa's shadow was exactly to the right of Seema. Forget about this. Why means they will give this type of questions for the purpose of confusing. Saying like Ajay's shadow was to the left of Vijay, Seema's shadow was to the right of Hema. Or leave all these things. You just need to concentrate that we know a point, shadows will be on the same side. If Seema's shadow is on the right, Hema's shadow also will be on the right. If Ajay's shadow is on the right, Vijay's shadow also will be on the right. Yes or no? That is the reason you need to concentrate just only upon time, morning time or evening time. And one more important point, which hand, left hand or right hand? You need to know only that. Once if you know that, automatically solving these questions will be very simple. As here the question is with respect to face, here person is also important. Whether the question is asking about Seema or Deepa, it's important. If the question is about Seema, answer will be north. If the question is about Deepa, then answer is going to be south. Is that clear? So let us look at next one. One evening before sunset, Geeta and Sita were talking each other face to face, crossing. If Sita's shadow was on the left of Geeta, look here, left of Geeta. This is important. Timing, evening time, yes or no? Evening time left hand side. Evening time left hand side means person is facing towards south, yes or no? Evening shadow right means person is facing towards north. But here evening shadow is on the left, which means person is facing towards south. So Geeta is facing towards south. If Geeta is facing towards south, what is our question? Our question is also asking about Geeta. Yes, as our question is about Geeta, so we can say answer is south. If the question is asking about Sita, if the question is asking about Sita, then you can say answer is north. But the question is not asking about Sita. The question is not about Sita. The question is about Geeta. Geeta is facing towards which direction? Geeta is facing towards south direction. Is that clear? So let us look at the next one. One morning after sunrise, Suresh was standing facing a pole. The shadow of pole fell exactly to right. Look here, shadow was exactly to right. Whether it is pole shadow or bike shadow, it's not a matter. I told you, shadows will be on the same side. So just look here, shadow was on the right hand side. At what time? At what time means morning time. Morning time right hand side. Morning time right hand side means person is facing towards south direction. So our question is, in which direction the person is facing? Person is facing towards south. Yes or no? Very, very simple. It's just a matter of fraction of seconds. Just look at the time, morning time or evening time. Look at the hand, shadow, whether it is on the left hand or right hand. That's it, nothing more than. Whose shadow? Even it is not important. Just shadow we need to know, left hand or right hand. But whose shadow? It's not important. So if you look here, in this we came to know that shadow was on the right hand side. At what time? At morning time. Morning time right hand side means the person is facing towards south direction. Is that clear? Let's look at next one. If at 4 p.m. the shadow of person is on his front, look here. Now answer is going to be either east or west. Okay, it is not north, south, either east or west. I told you clearly, whenever it is front, back, it is going to be either east or west. Now look here, we know this is going to be morning shadow. Yes, this is going to be morning shadow. And this is going to be evening shadow. Yes, morning shadow will be always on west direction, evening shadow always on east direction. Yes, now what question is saying? 4 p.m. 4 p.m. means evening shadow. Evening shadow is on the front. Now look here, evening shadow should be front means person should face in this way. Yes or no? Evening shadow should be on the front means person should face in this direction. Now what is this direction? Now what is the direction means? This is nothing but east direction. Yes, so we can say answer for this question is east. So whenever you have question this way, just you know that morning shadow will be on the west, evening shadow will be on the east. You know this point? Yes or no? As you know this point, person is going to be in between. If morning shadow front, I need morning shadow front I need evening shadow front. Yes, 4 p.m. means evening time. Evening shadow should be in the front. Evening shadow front means person should face in this direction. Now this direction is nothing but east, so directly mark it as east. If the question is saying morning shadow should be on the front, morning shadow should be on the front means then person should face in this way. Morning shadow should be on the front means then person should face which direction? Person should face which direction means then we can say answer is west. But in this question it is said evening shadow should be on the front. Evening shadow front means person should face in this way. Now this direction is nothing but east direction. Is that clear? Let us look at next question. If at 10 a.m. the shadow of a person is on his front, then the person is facing which direction? 10 a.m. means morning shadow. Yes or no? Now look here, this is going to be morning shadow. Yes, this is going to be evening shadow. Yes, now if you observe, morning shadow is going to be front. Look here, morning shadow should be front. Morning shadow should be front means person should face towards which direction? Which direction means answer is west. Yes or no? So we can say answer for this question is going to be west direction. It's a matter of fraction of seconds. You can solve these questions very, very easily. Just remember whatever I have told you. Once if you are going to remember, then you can solve these questions very easily. Look at the next one. At 8 a.m. morning time. Morning time shadow the person is on his back. So morning shadow is on the back. Look here. This is morning shadow. This is evening shadow. Yes. Morning shadow is on the back. Morning shadow should be on the back means person should face this direction. When the person is facing in this way, then look here, morning shadow is going to be on the back. Yes, which means person is facing towards which direction? Person is facing towards east direction. So answer is going to be east. Is that clear? Very simple. It's clearly said morning shadow. Morning shadow should be on the back. Morning shadow should be on the back means I need to face towards which direction? If I am facing towards east direction, then morning shadow will be on my back side. Yes or no? So I am facing towards which direction? I am facing towards this direction. Yes. Now what is this direction? This direction is nothing but east. So answer is going to be east. Is that clear? Let us look at next one. If at 5 p.m. 5 p.m. means evening time. Evening time shadow is on his back. So evening shadow should be on the back. Look here, this is morning shadow. Yes or no? This is morning shadow. This is going to be evening shadow. Evening shadow should be on the back. Evening shadow should be on the back means person should face this direction. When the person is facing this direction, then evening shadow will be on the back of the person. Now what is this direction? This direction is nothing but west direction. Yes, so we can say answer for this question is going to be west. Very simple. Just look here. It's a matter of fraction of seconds. Once if you know the concept, whatever we have discussed, once if you are perfect in the concept, these shadow questions can be solved in just 2 seconds without using any diagram, any representation. But you need to know the points, whatever I have discussed earlier. Once if you know the points, then automatically fraction of seconds you are going to get the answer. Fraction of seconds. Okay. So with this model is completed. Okay. So shadow based questions comes in examination. These are very important. Some particular examinations they ask very frequently. In some examinations they may not ask, but in some examinations they are asking very important, very simple. It's just a matter of fraction of seconds. Once if you remember the key points, whatever I have told you, key points. Anyway, this one you need not remember. Why? Means you know that morning shadow will be on the west direction, evening shadow will be on the right east direction. Anyway, you know that. As you know this, now if they say front, back, depending upon that you are going to change the direction of person. You will change and you will get the answer. But when it is with respect to north, south, I told you one point. That is morning shadow left hand side, answer is north. Evening shadow right hand side, answer is north. Just remember this key point. Once if you remember this key point, then solving this question will be very simple. And one more point I told you, shadows will be on the same side. Whether it is your friend shadow or your shadow or pole shadow or bike shadow, shadows will be on the same side. Examiner tries to confuse us, but you should not confuse. Why? Means you know that shadow will be on the same side. So you need not bother whether it is your friend shadow you have seen or pole shadow you have seen or bike shadow you have seen. It's not a matter. Shadow was there on which side, left hand side or right hand side. Just read that only and go for the timing. At what time? Morning time or evening time. Once if you know these key points, then you can solve all the questions with respect to shadows very easily in examination. Is it clear? If you're a serious aspirant and if you're looking for right platform to achieve your dream job, immediately download Chandan app. For more details, contact below numbers. Thank you. All the best.